Apparently, 55 years ago, the moon hoax occurred, and the math checks out. I don't know about the exact date, but I just saw this on Reddit, of all places, of course. And what I thought was interesting, and is just not surprising, is how obvious it all is at this point. And it's an example of there's a, I don't want to say silent majority, but certainly a silenced majority of people who do not agree with the narrative on all sorts of topics. And I think that that's a trap. I think that in general, the idea of chasing a rabbit hole is a trap. And there are some people out there that, like, that'll be their one thing. Like, oh, the moon landing's a hoax. And, like, putting so much investment into, like, going through every little photograph, looking at crosshairs on photographs. And that, I don't agree with that at all. I think that's a trap and gives it too much credit. In my opinion, a lot of the NASA stuff is really campy and silly and mocking and contradicts physics, contradicts just what I see with my eye. I can use my eyes and look at the moon and see that that's not like a rock that's really far away that people can go and land on. You can just see that with your eyes. And understanding things like the inverse square law, which is a law of physics, and people will come out of the woodwork. The moon is a hologram. Yeah, it really is. The firmament is a dome above us. And I personally believe that the sun and the moon are beyond the firmament. So when I see the sun in the sky and the moon in the sky, I think it's like how video games work. You know how in an open world video game you're running around and the sun comes up, depending on where your player position is. Everything's personal, based off of the observer here. The sun that you see in the sky, it's where it is based off of where you are on the ground. And you're seeing it through the firmament. This stuff, it's all about optics. And that's why you get strange optical illusions of, like, I've seen the moon before where it's like enormous. On the horizon, some wacky things can happen. And yeah, this stuff just comes down to optics. And when things go really far away, your eye can't see forever. The stars are not infinitely far away, otherwise you couldn't see them, because there's this thing called the inverse square law. And anyways, outer space is fake and gay. That's the point. Who knows what's really going on in the heavens? The Bible is a better explanation. I guess the reason I'm doing this video is because I haven't made a video in a while, and I'm going to do a video in a couple days or something going over Genesis and talking about how normies get Genesis all wrong. And if you just carefully read through Genesis, you'll have a pretty good understanding of where you live. And it's clear that Genesis is not written as some allegory, like there's a turtle and something's riding on the turtle back. No, Genesis is very specific about where we live. And yeah, so stick around. I'm going to do a video on Genesis. Well, let's go through these slides. I've already said a lot. I've already rambled a bunch. I wanted to show the Reddit comments. I wanted to show that this isn't fringe to deny this stuff, even on Reddit. Tons of people. If you sort by controversial, all you got to do is sort by controversial, because they try to silence this opinion. But there's so many people out there that do not believe in the moon landings. That's a good starting point for conspiracy. I gave the warning earlier. I think some people get trapped on this, but it's like, that's like the tip of the iceberg. The whole world's a stage. And yeah, outer space is fake and gay, but it goes so much deeper than that. But it's still a good one, because it's the lie about where we live. And it's going to be a lie that's very important with end times deception. They're definitely going to fake an alien invasion. I don't think there's any going around that. I think they've painted themselves into a corner with that, and that's what they're planning on doing. So in the very end times, if you know outer space is fake, you're not going to fall for the whatever the NWO puts on in the end. Well, let's go through the comments. I call bullshit in Hollywood. I don't believe you. Allegedly. There was a lot of allegedly. Sure we did. here we go. Actually, they come up. Hoax moon landing. It was all staged. Or did we? Really? Some people still believe in pregnant birds. That's an expression I've never heard before. Allegedly. And fake. Allegedly. Kubrick. They were downvoting people talking about Kubrick. That's cool to see that that's just like a... Whether it's true or not, I personally believe that, yeah, Stanley Kubrick is the one who directed the moon landing. And it's cool to just see that kind of common knowledge, common conspiracy knowledge out there. And I guess I'll point out that I've met other Christian parents through like Christian stuff that they won't shout it from the rooftops because people don't want to be seen as a wacko. But if you keep your eyes open and keep your ears peeled and see the kind of faces people make at certain times, you'll be able to find people out there that are Christian and do not believe the moon landing and that are open to things like the moon being a light and not like a rock that people can land on. So it's always cool to network and find new people. Anyways, there were a lot of allegedlys. No, we didn't. Another reference to Kubrick. Sure about that? On a Studio, moon directed by Stanley Kubrick. For people who don't believe it, here's some good footage of it. And that was, of course, a Rickroll. Well, that is it for this video. Really, more than anything, this is an advertisement for an upcoming video that I'm just going to read through Genesis 1, talk about how a normie pastor is going to interpret Genesis 1 or talk about things, what they might say, and that's what I want to know. What do pastors learn when they go? Like, pastors must learn that the Bible teaches all sorts of flat earth stuff. So what goes on there where they all go off to their 501c3 and they just evade? It's a lot of just evasion. A lot of they just don't bring stuff up. And this is part of my video, I'm going to talk about different Bible versions, using versions that talk about like vault, or they translate the word firmament to like sky, certain things like that. But they must get taught about the firmament in seminary, no? So why have they all just agreed to buy into the ball earth fantasy? They'll reject evolution outright. They'll reject the Big Bang, kind of. Anyway, they just kind of reject they'll say, anyways, go to that video when I make it in a couple days. Stick around, leave a comment. I miss you guys. Thank you for watching. God bless everyone.